Hi. Have you ever lost someone you love or care about, and you just wish you could have had that last conversation with them, telling them all you feel and all you want to tell, but you couldn't? Well, I'm talking about this because recently I've been getting lots of emails and questions on social media regarding the subject. Losing a loved one, how do you communicate with them, and how do you know where they are, and can you meet them at all? Well, my answer is a yes to those questions, because there's lots of ways you can communicate with them and even meet them, and there's quite a few ways to do it. But today I'm just gonna share that a little bit because there's a lot of researchers and people trying it out. So yeah, one thing I do not want to recommend to people is actually using something uh, Ouija boards and mirrors and candles and some sort of ritualistic things. It's totally no need to do that because you don't know who you're gonna contact while doing it, and unless you're really 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 connected to that person. But it's a 50-50 thing. Anyway, what I want to say is that the soul is immortal and that the body is just a vessel. So once your loved one passes away, it's just the body that dies. The soul is eternal and it's gonna go anywhere. And even if your relative or someone you love or care about reincarnates here on Earth, it doesn't mean that you have no chances of talking to them or meeting them because you don't know where they are, and oh no, where they're here on Earth, what am I gonna do? The thing is, from my experience, I've met my relatives that passed away during out of body experiences in dreams, and with all the research I've been doing myself, exploring the realms, we have more than one body. This body on Earth isn't the only one, and you can have other bodies in other realms. So that's the good thing. If your loved one passes away, or someone you care about, or someone you just like, you can have the connection with them, and not necessarily just have that person in mind. Think about them. What's the connection or relationship you have with them? What is it that what kind of feeling do you get when you think about that person or when you're with that person? And you just have that connection going in your mind and you just feel it. So you're gonna have specific person in mind. And once you concentrate on the person, there's a few things to do. Simply, you can just talk to that person in your mind or out loud, but probably not in public because that would be weird. So mainly in your mind, or if you're alone, then out loud if it's better for you. But you just have that person in mind and have the connection going and feeling okay, this is my for example, my great grandfather. This is the person that I would like to talk to again or something. And what kind of feeling do I have? What kind of connection do we have? And I'm just gonna connect with him in that way that I felt when he was still here. So I'm gonna feel it and connect it, and then with my thoughts, basically just think about it or say it out loud, start talking to them. What do you want to say? What's your message? Think about them directly and just talk. The thing is, for them, it's gonna be easy to feel you and hear you because it's just the human body that's limited. Out there, we don't have all those limitations. And a lot of beings are talking, just sending thoughts. And, it's all telepathically. So they're gonna be, for them, it's gonna be easy to pick up on you. And you're totally not interrupting. It's just basically you're getting a message on your phone, and you're like, okay, someone wrote, I'm gonna check it in a few hours. So they can be experiencing anything in their world or doing whatever, and they're gonna get your message. And they can check it anytime and replay it and see the text and whatever. It's that easy and fun. And yeah, I've tried it myself, and I've asked hey, I've met my great grandfather in Ubis a few times, and I'm like, hey, well, how did you got my message? What happened? How did it felt? And so yeah, it's that simple. And the thing is, for us to contact them, simply by thoughts. Another way is another simple one is have a little paper and just write them a letter. Write them whatever you want to say, your message, your letter, and actually leave it in a place where they could see it. And so when you go to bed, you can actually just again tell them hey, I just wrote your message. Could you please come over and see it or read it? So for them, they can come over and read the message that you wrote, or you can just talk to them in mind. And another thing, on earthly matters, for you to write it and communicate one way is a really good thing. To get that message back will be another thing because a lot of people are not that aware to the messages around us. They cannot read the nature or signs or whatever. Okay, most people, I guess they can. But there are some that are ignorant, okay, I wrote the message and I cannot hear the voice. They're just not answering. It doesn't have to be the voice. It can be your thoughts, it can be something during the day, it can be a text online. It's exactly what you needed to read. And like, so you can catch it in a lot of ways, and there's a lot of ways you can receive the message, but for you, like, you have to be aware of it. And another way, like, which is my favorite, is actually, if I'm lucky, well, not me, but like for another person, there are dreams and out-of-body experiences. So when you go to sleep and you're sure that you cannot get out of body, but you will dream, you will simply like, okay, you leave the message and ask them like, hey, you're talking to your relative or the person you like or love or cared about, and just you lost them, but they're out there and you just want to contact them. So we're going to sleep and you ask them to come over and visit you during the dream and talk to you. And most likely they will. They'll come into your dream and you will have whatever sort of experience. And same thing in out of body, which is way more fun. If you get out of body and you can simply have that connection going, or the feeling that you had with the person. So let's say if it would be my great grandfather, and I'm like, okay, that's the sort of feeling that I had. And I'm just like sort of feeling it, and I'm gonna like pick up like, okay, it doesn't matter what kind of body, it doesn't matter where, it's just gonna be that same being, that same soul, with the same feeling. And I'm gonna pick it up, no matter where. You're just gonna get it in your head, and you will know that this is the right. It's not like, okay, what if? No, it's gonna be the knowingness. It's gonna come from inside. It's knowledge. So you're gonna get that thing, and you can simply like teleport, just feeling that, and you will follow it, and you'll like be right, bam, you're right in front of the person, and you two are talking and having the conversation. And you can talk anything about anything, like ask them about different realms, where are they, how do they do, and like what kind of bodies do they have out there, all kinds of questions. And they're aware, and they will like tell you the stories. Like for example, my great grandfather, he died like when he was 94, I think, or maybe older, but he died like pretty old, and he lived like amazing life. Well, damn, like not amazing life, but like he was amazing because he was like exiled to Siberia because of the Russians and USSR times. But anyway, like long story, I'll talk to you about it another time. But anyway, so I talked to him, and like he sort of believed in God, but he didn't knew all these things that we know today. And he didn't see the white light when he died. He didn't see other entities, other beings, and archons, and other stuff. He just died, he passed away, and he simply opened his eyes in another realm. And he was okay. And he knew where he was, what he's doing, that he died, and he just crossed over another plane, and he like found other people, or just say beings that sort of helped him out, and like he just got around, and that's it. So it's pretty interesting for me, because like a lot of people are like, okay, don't go to the white light and do this and do that, but you will not see that necessarily. So like it's amazing, because like people can pass away and they will not experience all those things that we know about. So like even though we know about it, it might even create our reality, and we might encounter these. But anyway, like, so there's lots of takes on it. And I guess that the best thing about it is that like when you go out of body, you can meet them whenever they are, wherever, and that doesn't matter how far or who they are. You will simply feel it by the feeling inside, the connection that you have. You can find them anywhere in different bodies. And I guess that's a good thing. Like you don't have to worry about like, oh my god, they incarnate on Earth, how do I meet them? So like you can simply find another body, and they will have the memory of everything that happened on Earth. They will recall absolutely everything, and then you can have your conversations. So anyway, this is just my little take on it. There's actually like a lot into this subject, but what the hell, like it's been a while since I've made a video, so I want to talk about something. So yeah, and again, like I would not recommend doing like just thinking, okay, this relative, and then you don't have the feeling or the intention or concentration, and you just start talking to dead beings. Like probably not a good idea, because you might get someone unwanted, and then they're gonna like talk to you, and you might even hear them or whatever. So like please be aware of what you do and be careful. Like I don't want to like, hey, just like talk to anyone, and all of a sudden other beings are talking to you, but not your relatives. Like that's not a good thing. But anyway, lots of ways to go about it. So yeah, have any of you ever tried to talk to your dead relatives or people you love or care about? How did it go? What's your ways of doing it? And like what's your take on talking and communicating to dead people? Well, at least relatives, because dead people, like not all of them is the person that you want to talk to. Anyway, so that's all for now. See you in the next video. Bye.